Cody's got some players to watch and keep an eye on their card market.
Yeah, so postseason's here. The best. It's the best time of the year, as I always like to say. It's October baseball.
Most wonderful
That's right.
time.
That's right. And I think there's a few guys to keep an eye on this postseason. Some of the obvious names: Aaron Judge, Superfractor, Bowman, first Bowman auto. I think at this point, is it crazy to say? I don't know whatever that guy who owns it or the person who owns it decides to do with it, but to not sell it this offseason seems crazy to me because I think that's probably going to fetch at least $1 million at this point.
You would think, yeah.
Yeah. Julio Rodriguez, obviously, another guy to keep an eye on. But I want to highlight, I think, the most underrated team for the hobby, because I feel like most people are like, well, obviously, the Rays are in it, Wander, the Mariners are in it, Julio. Even the Braves, Michael Harris has had an incredible year. But to me, I think the most interesting team, if you're looking for like an investment opportunity at a good price that's not going to break the bank, is the Cleveland Guardians. The team that you probably...
Wait, which team?
The Cleveland Guardians. Yeah,
Never
that team. That team. Yes, they changed their name, and suddenly they're the best team in the American League
Isn't that
Central.
the team that Charlie Sheen played on?
That's the well, it went by a different name back in the day, but yes, that's the team. This is the youngest team in baseball. I want to say they had the most rookies debut on this team. They bet on these young guys. They gave Jose Ramirez a big contract, and they won the division. They had some of the best performing rookies all year long. Oscar Gonzalez batted .320 with a .354 on-base percentage. In his last 30 games, had a great season. I think he was like third among qualified rookies in OPS. He's 24 years old. Steven Kwan, pride of Los Gatos, pride of the South Bay. That's right.
Nice.
That's our guy. I actually talked about him beginning of the season.
Yeah, we did.
I was like, Steven Kwan. He has like 10 hits in his last 11 at-bats. Isn't this crazy?
Apparently doesn't have a first Bowman, though, no?
He doesn't have a first Bowman. That's
Nope.
the crazy thing.
I don't ever recall hitting a first of Steven Kwan anything.
No.
Well, and Oscar Gonzalez is one of those guys, because it's been 2 years, almost 3 years since that product came out, where you're like, let me go back to my box. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
You opened it up, you're going for Dominguez, and I believe is that Bowman Chrome, though?
For Oscar Gonzalez, that's actually out of 2020 Bowman. So
right. So yeah, you're going for Dominguez. I know they say Chrome for both. That's a confusing thing. That's a whole other.
As if there weren't
have.
enough things to chase, enough players to chase in 2020 Bowman. Other guys on that team, Andres Jimenez had a huge season for that team. He was an all-star. I want to mention also Jose Ramirez as a guy I think that is absolutely one of the most underrated dudes in the hobby.
Yep.
Since his first full season, he compares really favorably to Nolan Arenado. Arenado sells pretty well in this hobby. He sells actually really, really well. He's got more doubles, 154 stolen bases versus 17 for Arenado. I know that's not his game, but nonetheless, it's something to mention. Over 100 less strikeouts, more walks. He's got a better OPS plus. You want to compare his Superfractor, his rookie Superfractor, which finally sold this year for about $20,000 at the beginning of the season. That's only $5,000 more than Arenado's orange first Bowman at BGS 9.510. I don't think there's Bowman autos of Jose Ramirez, which has kind of always held him back, I think, in the hobby. But I think he's, like, the track record to me speaks for itself. He is really good. He's the best player on that team.
He's always a first rounder in fantasy drafts the last couple of years.
Always. A guy that I think is going to actually be, surprisingly, a bit of a bargain right now. I don't know. Bargain maybe with a lowercase b. I think Wander Franco right now, actually, if you want to get into Wander Franco, I don't know if there's ever been a better time to do it.
You dip? That's what he did.
Exactly. He dipped. He dipped big time. His first Bowman PSA 10 base auto down from $4,271 back in April to most recently, as of last week, $1,290.
Ooh.
Yeah. But
Wow.
he's batting since he came back from the IL, which he was on the injured list for about 2.5 months. I think that's the big reason why it went down. And obviously, Julio Rodriguez gets called up, takes the baseball world by storm. You got other rookies as well.
Yeah.
But since he got back off the injured list, he's batting .322. He's got an .853 OPS. I kind of think it's a good time to buy. Like, if you have the money to get in on Wander Franco and you were like, I don't want to buy a $5,000 base chrome auto, even though it is Wander Franco. To me, that's a great opportunity to get in on him for a guy who is still really young. He's going to be in Tampa for a long, long time. I think I said at the beginning of the year, in a video on the beginning of the year, that when he finally has a moment where it's like, oh, yeah, he's a good player on Tampa Bay, things are going to level off. It finally happened, and then some. I think we've even gone a little lower than I had anticipated initially. If he's got a solid postseason here, I think it's actually a really good time to buy in on him. One more guy I want to throw out there is Julio Rodriguez versus Michael Harris. Michael Harris, pretty big name now already among collectors, among prospectors. Had a great rookie season for the Atlanta Braves. Probably your National League Rookie of the Year, second among all MLB rookies in OPS, second only to Julio Rodriguez. Everyone made a huge deal. Julio, 20 homers, 20 stolen bases. Only like 3 or 4 rookies have ever done that. Well, Michael Harris hit 19 home runs and got 20 stolen bases and only got called up, I think, in June. They locked him up to a long-term extension, much like Julio Rodriguez. Obviously not as huge a contract because that was just an insane contract.
Yeah.
But just a comparison, and I'll show it here on the screen. Michael Harris, first Bowman Chrome PSA 10 auto, sold recently for $676. The same exact card, or almost the same exact card, a BGS 9.5 for Julio, sold for $2,025. I know Julio's the guy. I like Julio. If you had to ask me which guy would I rather have, it's Julio. But I think Michael Harris, again, another guy where, yeah, it's a little out of the price range, but if you are that type of person who's like, I want to get a Julio Rodriguez card, maybe take a step back and say maybe Michael Harris is a better investment, especially because the Braves are probably going to go deeper in this postseason than the Seattle Mariners are going to. I'll say this. I'm rooting for the Mariners. That's the team I'm pulling for this
100%.
postseason. Go M's. Go J-Rod. They've always been my second favorite team since I was a kid. Ken Griffey, then Ichiro, and J-Rod is electric. So
Everybody
go
but the Yankees and Dodgers, right?
pretty much. Yeah, I'd say.
Dang,
And
I was
obviously
gonna say I only like the Yankees and Dodgers besides Oakland, bro.